Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Magda and I prepare service members for the STANAG and JFLT exam. And today we're going to talk about the latter. What does JFLT stand for? It means Joint Forces Language Test, and that's the proficiency test that measures the competences of the members of the Italian Armed Forces. The test has a different name in Italy than in other countries. And it's also quite different when it comes to the structure, which is something that I'm going to discuss in today's video. JFLT is a multi-level test. Whereas it still follows the STANAG criteria, it is executed a little bit differently in Italy, especially when it comes to the listening and reading test. Let's start with the receptive skills, reading and listening. They both consist of 60 short texts or recordings. And in order to complete them, you have to first go through the texts or recordings from the level 1, then the level 2, 3, and 4. Each of the levels contains 15 questions. So 15 for the level 1, 2, 3, and 4. 60 in total. Which makes it quite different from the exams in other countries. For example, in Spain, students have to deal with around 30-35 questions. And in Poland, the exam is a little bit more similar to the Cambridge exams, where there are usually just a few longer texts or audio recordings. Alright, let's get into specifics. The exam takes place on 2 consecutive days. Day 1 includes receptive skills, reading and listening. And now let's discuss some specifics on each of them. Reading. The reading part takes 120 minutes, and the types of tasks that you will come across will be announcements, descriptions, narrations, news, correspondence, reports, articles, text related to professional military topics. There are multiple choice questions, which means A, B, C, or D. Whereas the listening part takes 90 minutes to complete approximately, and it includes types of tasks such as news, conversations between native speakers, instructions, narrations, arrangements, directions, briefings, speeches, conversations using wireless emergency notification system, radio communication, phone calls, interviews, and news items. So that was day 1. Now let's move on to day 2, when the productive skills are present, speaking and writing. Those focus on authentic situations related to a specific armed force, for example, the Navy. Bear in mind that if you fail the receptive skills part, you're not allowed to do the productive skills part, which basically means that you're sent home and you have to wait for 1 year in order to take the exam again. Okay, let's talk about the speaking part. It takes around 15-20 minutes and consists of 3 parts. Part 1, introduction, part 2, role plays, and part 3, discussion or another role play. Part 1 is an informal conversation, a small talk when the examiners allow you to warm up and they can get a general idea of your level. Part 2 is a role play related to a specific situation. It could be an everyday life situation or a work context situation. Don't worry, you will have time to read it and even a minute to prepare. When it comes to part 3, it could be either a discussion, which is preferred for the candidates for the level 3, where they can actually show their linguistic skills, and higher order thinking skills such as speculating, debating, and it usually touches upon socio-economic issues or geopolitical. You also need to stay up to date with the current events because the questions may be related to those. When you're aiming at level 2, it's more likely to be a casual conversation or a simple discussion or another role play if the examiners want to make sure what is exactly the level that they want to grant you. JFLT was developed with a strong emphasis on language functions. It's evident in the role plays that they ask students to perform. Language functions are all of these things that you have to do in a language that are very specific, and you need to really pay attention to the register, whether it's formal or informal. These are the functions such as apologizing, thanking somebody, expressing your opinion, hypothesizing, and so on and so forth. If you feel that that's not your strong suit, I created an ebook that focuses specifically on that, on the language functions that are required for the level 2 and level 3 STANAG and JFLT exam. I think it might be helpful in the preparation process. Alright, it's time to talk about the writing part. Writing takes 2 hours, 120 minutes, and these are the writing forms that you're asked to write. A short note of 50 to 100 words, a short essay or a report, or a letter/email of 150 up to 250 words, and finally, that's the level 3 task, an essay, also called a composition. You have to choose 1 out of 3 topics. And that's it. These are some basic characteristics of the JFLT exam. If you would like a part 2 of this video, let me know. And let's keep in touch. You can find me on my website, on Instagram, and I would love you to subscribe to my channel. This way you'll be always informed about new content published. See you in the next video.